Hey guys, and welcome back. I'm Dave, aka the Costume Kid, and today we're going to be making Aquaman's Trident. I've actually already made Aquaman's Trident in the past, not for a video here, just on my own time. And I typically don't like repeating props a second time, but in the new DCEU, Aquaman's Trident is quite different. It's gunmetal instead of the traditional gold, but also it's not a trident at all. It has 5 points, making it a quindent. But to make our project, we're of course going to be using PVC pipe. For this project, I've got a 10-foot piece of 1-inch PVC. This will be our base. Another 10-foot piece of 3/4-inch PVC for the main prongs, and then I have a scrap piece here of some 1/2-inch. Now, an interesting approach I'm going to use this time is instead of using angles, where before I would use some 45-degree angles to replicate those curves, I'm going to try bending PVC. Now, unless you're Jason Momoa, bending pipe is pretty hard. But nothing a little heat can't solve, so I think if we use the heat gun, heat it up a bit, maybe we could actually bend it and curve it into the shapes we want. To start, I took my 1-inch pipe, measured it to the size I want it to be, which is just a little bit taller than my head there, and then I needed to cut it to that size. For that, you could use pretty much any saw, a miter saw, a bandsaw, even a hacksaw would work. I used a scroll saw because it happened to be what I had. Once I got that cut down, I needed to cut out 2 more of the 3/4-inch pipe to be the next 2 biggest prongs. After that, I took another piece of 3/4-inch pipe and bent it into a V there. That'll be the piece that all the prongs come out of. I cut a hole in the main piece and sanded it down so that I could fit the V piece into it. I cut some areas so the 2 other prongs can fit in better, and then we're ready to glue. As much as I know it's going to make it hard to work around, I'm going to have to glue this through this first. The reason for that being, if I glue these on first, well, it's not going to be able to slide through. To glue these together, you could use proper PVC glue, if you have it, but for me, I'm just going to use some barge contact cement. Should work pretty good. So the glue is set up now, but because there's not a whole lot of surface area connecting the pieces, the joints are just really weak, and I'll be building up on them later to make them stronger, but right now, I gotta be careful. But just 2 more points and we finished our quindent. First things first, I sanded down the inside of the 3/4-inch pipe, and then I cut down a piece of the 1/2-inch pipe to fit inside it. Alright, so as you can tell, these side pieces are way too long, but it's easier to handle a big piece when it's hot. That brings us to our next step, where I'm going to be heating up around this joint here and then bending them so we get another point. This is a good time to mention that if you're doing anything that's heating plastic, it puts off some very toxic fumes, so please wear a respirator and do this in a well-ventilated area. In fact, just all this stuff, cutting the PVC, sanding the pipe, bending it, just safety first. Now, although it took me a while to bend this pipe into shape, I eventually got it curved. Oh yeah, this thing is looking great. Moving on now, I took another piece of pipe shaped like a U and then cut it down and attached it to the trident, and then continued that method for the next one. Alright, so I think we finished up all the PVC work on this, and I'm really digging it. All these different pieces connected, we got some contact cement, some hot glue, and I really just want to make it a nice cohesive bond, so I've got some ideas. First, I filled up those joints with as much hot glue as possible, so I knew I got a nice good bond, and then I went back over that with spackle. Now, you could use something else, caulk or something, but I chose spackle because it's what I had. Alright, so while the spackle is drying, let's work on the spikes. There's going to be 5 of these going on top of all the points that we've made, so to make them, I'm going to use some EVA foam. I'm going to stack it up a couple layers thick, and then typically I've only cut this with the utility knife, but I'm going to try out the scroll saw, cut them down, and then sand them down with the rotary tool until they look something like this. Alright, so the spackle is dry now, but it kind of left quite the cake frosting texture on it, so now we're going to sand it up. I'm going to do this mostly with some sandpaper of different grits and then maybe the rotary tool. The last thing to make before the trident is complete is the very bottom base of the thing. At the very bottom, I added an old scrap of some thicker pipe and then used some craft foam for those last extra details. And that's it. Now it's just time to paint. Now typically Aquaman's trident is gold, but for this new movie, they decided to give it a cool gunmetal look. So I picked up this antique pewter spray paint, and it's already got that hammer texture in it, so should work out pretty good. A few coats of spray paint later, and this build is done. So thank you guys very much for watching. Make sure to hit that like button and share it with your friends. If you have any questions on this build, as well as your requests for future costumes, make sure to leave them in the comments section down below. Alright, see ya. Oh god, that's great.